Some new details were just released regarding the upcoming Cronos hyperchain, which is set to launch at some point this year. And this is going to be a new layer 2 that is going to be joining the Cronos ecosystem. So in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I'm going to break down all of the details for you guys, what they discussed here, how it's going to impact Crocoin itself, as well as give you guys an update on the price action for this altcoin. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So without further ado, we're going to get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and that is going to be Crocoin, which is up about 47.5% over the past year. However, it is still lagging, Bitcoin itself and the majority of the altcoin market, if I'm not mistaken. And if we take a look at the chart here, I mean, you can see this is one of those altcoins that is still incredibly beaten down from its prior all-time highs, down about 90% from those levels. Its prior cycle high back in the previous cycle being around the 96-cent area, as it currently sits at about 8.5 cents. So if we actually go ahead and measure Cro versus the rest of the altcoin market over the past year, so let's take a look at the 1 year here for the altcoin market. Actually go ahead and put it on a percentage basis. Yeah, so the broader market is up about 80%, and we have Crocoin up about 47.5%. So it has underperformed both Bitcoin and the altcoin market. However, if you do believe in this project, if you think that it still has a lot of room to run, this hyperchain could be the catalyst that does actually start the outperformance for this altcoin if it does in fact see mass adoption. So for some context, we got this announcement back in February that the Cronos team was looking to launch the Cronos ZK EVM, a zero-knowledge layer 2 blockchain on top of the Ethereum mainnet. And they're looking to solve some pretty big problems within the current DeFi ecosystem, including scalability and modular data availability, shared liquidity among hyperchains. And they're also looking to offer yield-bearing crypto assets backed by proof-of-stake and lending protocols, as well as native account abstraction to pay fees in multiple tokens and more. So we can see here that the mainnet launch initially was set for June of 2024. It did get delayed. And I was saying at the time, I kind of see this as a good thing, to be honest, because June was a pretty rough month for the altcoin market. And I think that had the hyperchain launched in June, that we really wouldn't have seen too much of a positive reaction there, right? We can actually see based on the charts, the altcoin market dropped from, peak to dip there. If we actually go ahead and measure it into July, I mean, it dropped like 28%, right? From early June to, July 9th, July 10th. So, I mean, in disguise, kind of a good thing that the mainnet launch was delayed, and obviously if it means that they are going to have more time to just make sure that things are going to run smoothly upon launch, I definitely am a fan of kind of pushing it back for a better launch overall, and I do hope that is the case. So here is a tweet from Ken Timsit on the Cronos Labs team. He says, with the impending Cronos ZK EVM mainnet launch, the Cronos team is going to publish a bunch of tutorials that will make it easy to understand ZK Cro, VETH, and VUSD, the liquid staked and yield generating tokens available on the network. So here is a preview. What is ZK Cro? Now, ZK Cro is the native gas token of the Cronos ZK EVM. I call it the Cronos hyperchain because, ZK EVM is a mouthful. Basically, zero knowledge Ethereum virtual machine. Then you can see here that ZK Cro is a liquid staked version of Cro, natively generating yield powered by Vano Finance, which means that ZK Cro is going to be gaining value over Cro with time as you accumulate staking rewards, and backed by some liquid Cro locked on the Cronos EVM chain, which themselves are backed by staked Cro on the Cronos POS chain. So it can be a little bit complex if you are not familiar with the different ecosystems. I'm going to break down exactly what this means. And we're going to start off with the layer 0, build up to the layer 1, and then ZK, the new hyperchain, which is the layer 2. So the Cronos POS chain is the layer 0. You actually have a lot of Crow deposited on this chain, about 10.2 billion Crow out of 26.5 billion in circulation. Are locked on the Cronos POS chain. And when I say locked, I mean they are actually here generating yield. And the reason I say, locked is because when you actually stake your Crow on the Cronos POS chain, if you do want to get it back, you are subject to a 28-day unbonding period. And that's why I do tend to actually look at the Cronos POS chain metrics when talking about Crow, because I do tend to make the assumption that people staking their Crow on this chain are not traders. They're most likely holding Crow for the long term. I mean, this market moves incredibly fast. We can see massive fluctuations within a day. I don't think anybody simply looking to trade Crow would lock it up for a 7% yield and then be subject to a 28-day unbonding period. So the fact that 10.2 billion Crow is staked on the Cronos POS chain is bullish in my opinion. And you can see here that it is generating, 7.19 to about 7.59% here, more or less. So call it like 7.6 to 7.2% yield. Now, this Crow is then actually powering other ecosystems on the Cronos chain, the layer 1. And a prime example of that is Vano Finance. So Vano Finance is a liquid staking solution on the Cronos chain. And you can see here that they are offering a 7.24% yield. So what people can do is actually stake your Crow on Cronos with Vano. You receive liquid Crow in return, which is a liquid staking protocol offering 7.24%. This means that liquid Crow is actually going to be gaining that 7.24% in value over Crow. And then this is backed by Vano Finance actually staking the Crow coin you deposit on the Cronos POS chain. In fact, you can see here that they are one of the validators with about 206 million Crow. So they are actually taking the Crow that you are locking up for liquid Crow. You can take that liquid Crow and interact with different DeFi protocols on Cronos. They are staking it on the Cronos POS chain on the back end. Now we have ZK Crow, and this is held on the Cronos ZK EVM chain, and it is generating that yield from Liquid Crow. So ZK Crow is backed by Liquid Crow, which is backed by the native Crow token itself. All of it does come back to the original Crow token. This is not a separate token. In fact, if you want to actually get ZK Crow to interact with this hyperchain, it's not a fresh token. You have to actually bridge your Crow over to ZK Crow. And then you can see how you redeem your ZK Crow. So you bridge it back to Liquid Crow, swap it / unstake it, and then you can claim your original Crow on the bridge page. So you can see it all does actually go back to the main token itself. And what I find most interesting about ZK Crow is that unlike Vano Finance's Liquid Crow, where you have to actually go through liquid staking, simply by holding your ZK Crow on the hyperchain, you are going to be natively generating that yield, which in my opinion is pretty big, right? Like sometimes these liquid staking protocols can be a little bit complex for people and a little bit intimidating. And yeah, just the fact that by holding Crow and by holding ETH and by holding USD on this chain, it will be automatically generating yield, I think is a really cool concept in my opinion. And this is just the first kind of preview that we do have for this hyperchain. I do hope to see more details in the future that we can cover here for you guys on the channel. Now to wrap things up, I do want to take a look at Crow coin itself and just take a look at the price action and see exactly what is going on. And you can see here that at the moment, we are below the key price level of 10 cents. 10 cents, in my opinion, is the next important area for Crow to get above. In fact, if I put us on a log scale here, actually go ahead and hide the indicators and just take a look at the chart in this orange line. You can see here back in the bull market how 10 cents did act as the final area, kind of support before Crow launched up from 10 cents to 96 cents. It was acting as support here throughout the bear market until Crow did break down, find itself at the 5.5 cent range. And if you guys have been with the channel for a while, you know that we were talking about what a discount it was at this level. It did see, quite a few nice bounces off of that range. But the big move for this altcoin, and when I say big, I mean, the move off the lows actually came back in October of 2023 when this coin ran about 140% from 5 cents all the way up to about 12.5 cents. Now from here, what happened was interesting, okay? It actually went ahead and pulled it back to its bull market support band, rallied another 140%, and then we saw once again fading those gains, pulling back to its bull market support band. However, this time here, we can see that the first time this happened, it actually bounced off and rallied again. Unfortunately, on the second attempt, it actually broke down below the bull market support band. This did happen in late May, early June, which did coincide with, the rest of the altcoin market seeing a pretty big pullback, and Crow did follow suit. And we have broken below that 10-cent level once again. Now, taking a look here, we can see that the local lows and the area of support that Crow put in earlier this year was at about the 8-cent, the 7.5-cent range. And once again, here it back tested it as support. So I would be hoping for it to hold that if it does, see some further declines. And to the upside, if it can get above the 10-cent range, the next price level that I am looking for is the 12.5-cent level. 12.5 cents actually being pretty much the final area where Crow got rejected here in November of 2022 before falling about 50%. And additionally, we can see that on the first run-up that Crow had here, 12.5 cents was the resistance area before it pulled back and then came and ripped back above it. Acted as support here for a little bit. So to the downside, looking for 8 cents. Upside, looking for a break above 10 cents. And then the 12.5 cent level next. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy. And hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.